What's up, everybody? NFL Week 16, just a few more weeks left. Going to dive into the picks for a full slate of games and a very impactful and playoff implicated Week 16. As always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, keep getting this content throughout the remainder of the regular season and the playoffs, and comment any questions with who you're taking. Let's start off with the first game slew. We got divisional opponents in orange with the Bengals, who have been very lackluster all year long, even in their ups and downs, hosting the Browns, who, as we predicted, were going to really struggle to move the ball and remain from committing turnovers against a really stingy Chiefs defense. I guess the first question I have for you at this game, I think it's a lot going to be on the Browns offense and trying to hang with this Bengals offense in terms of points outputs. Do you think that Jameis Winston has the gunslinger in him like you saw against the Broncos, or the turnover prone struggling quarterback that you saw against the Chiefs?
I think we are going to see Jameis put up some points in this game, like we just saw the Titans, who couldn't even score a touchdown the week before, put up 27 against this Bengals defense. They even benched Levis, saw Rudolph, and that really struggling offense was still able to put up 27. So, I mean, Nick Chubb, he's hurt again, so hopefully it's not career ending, but I mean, the injuries are definitely piling up for him. Uh, yeah, I mean, if we see Jameis, I think it'll at least be an interesting enough game. I think plus seven's quite a bit here, especially with how much better the Browns defense is. But like you said, I mean, if they turn the ball over 2 times in this game, uh, Burrow and the way that offense has been playing, they could light it up and still cover here. But in my opinion, I think the seven's too much. The Bengals do have a slight playoff chance still at 6-8, but they need a lot to fall their way. And yeah, I'm not sold on them covering the 7 here at home. What about you, Edge?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think what is a little bit lost on people in this matchup is that I think it's hard to argue that the Browns don't have a better defense than the Bengals. I agree with you that they do, but the Browns are the fourth lowest coverage unit in the league. Bengals 23rd overall, Browns 29th. So both these teams really struggle defensively in the secondary. I think the thing I like most in this game is the total over. We know Joe Burrow is going to sling the ball. We know Jamar Chase is going to have a great game, especially against a really weak secondary. Despite really good talents and names in that Brown secondary, haven't been playing up to their potential and performance in years past. And then again, I think we're going to see Jameis the gunslinger this game against the Bengals defense that has been very willing to allow opposing quarterbacks to throw the ball all over him. I think because of the high scoring nature and the optionality that the Browns have in the passing game, hopefully getting Cedric Tillman back too as a potential threat and playmaker. I think you're going to see a lot of points this game. I think the Bengals do win, but in a tight one. It's not a game that I'd be shocked if the Browns won. They definitely love to play Kingslayer within the division. So I'm with you with the Browns plus 7 here.
Yeah, no, I like the over too, but yeah, we'll keep it moving.
Yep.
This next one, so we are a little bit out of order. Started with the Sunday game, but this is the only week for this NFL regular season with Saturday games. We got two, so this is the first Saturday game on the slate here. The 9-5 Texans going to Kansas City to play the 13-1 Chiefs. Texans just beat the Dolphins by 8 to kind of get back on track after their bye week. Although the offense didn't look great, their defense showed up with 3 interceptions on Tua. And then the Chiefs beat the Browns, as we kind of just talked about in that last game. But it was one of the more dominant performances. Didn't really feel like it was in doubt, especially with the way we've seen them win games so far this year. So yeah, the offense hasn't really gotten going, and I mean, I'm still surprised to see this line, the
Yeah,
Chiefs
I
as
just
home
checked to make
dogs
sure
here.
it was the truth, and you're damn right. The Chiefs are at home with Patrick Mahomes, albeit hobbled if he's playing, um, and an underdog. I, it doesn't happen very often. So I guess I'm gonna keep going with this, and I'll say it too. Is this every time I see the Chiefs at home as an underdog, I think I got to take the other team. This is they're underdogs for a reason, and half the time I do that, it's the outcome is the Chiefs win, and I look at myself and I say it's sometimes it's so easy. It's just Patrick Mahomes. All he's got to do is win. Just take that. Which of those two ideologies are you leaning towards this game?
I feel like yeah, we talk about traps and all that, but when it comes to the Chiefs, at least the last like 2, 3 years now, uh, typically, if you get this line on the Chiefs, I don't see how you don't take them.
Hmm.
Getting a plus money line at home. Yeah, they haven't lightened up the scoreboard, but really the Texans haven't played well either. I mean, they won that last game, but the defense really showed up. They're led by those three interceptions. Nico Collins is back, but he only had 17 yards, two of them being touchdowns, but didn't really move the ball well. CJ Stroud's definitely struggling in this sophomore slump. He hasn't played well on the road. He hasn't played well outdoors. He's going to get both in this one. So yeah, I don't know how I could sell myself on the Texans in some sort of trap scenario, but I have to side with the Chiefs plus money. Just burned too many times, not taking what looks like the easy pick.
That's fun because I think I'm going to take the opposite side here. I how You're seeing such a low total here that, obviously they think defense is going to reign supreme. And in the past, that had been the Chiefs that had the bigger propensity to blow up and stretch the field. They don't have as much of a threat, even though they have Xavier Worthy, who's extremely fast and athletic and quick. They haven't used him as the deep threat option, more of a Jaden Reed option, like the Packers running the football. Um, and getting the ball in yards after the catch scenarios, you do have a bunch of big play potential with a guy like Nico Collins, who's such a physical, deep downfield threat. Um, I think I'm going to go with the Texans here. I don't think it's like necessarily the smartest move, but this is a trap line I'm going to lead into. Uh, I think the trap line is to bet the Chiefs, and I'm going to fade it one last time and see if I get burned. But this will be one we'll check in on next week and see what happens. Because again, I think sometimes it's so easy to take the Chiefs. This is the other Saturday game, correct?
E- Exactly. This is the other Saturday game, so I mean, great slate for two games on a Saturday. We got
Yeah.
two big playoff matchups. This time going to the AFC North, but the now 10-4 Steelers going to Baltimore, play the 9-5 Ravens. Steelers lost to the Eagles by 14, and while they clinched the postseason already, this would a win here would win the division for them. Baltimore could get back in the race with a win, potentially move higher up in the playoff seeding. So definitely a big game for the playoffs here. But Lamar threw 5 touchdowns in a blowout win over the Giants. His MVP campaign's kind of getting boosted back up. But are you worried about Baltimore's defense and kind of kicking performance as far? I saw a stat, and it was essentially how much the rest of the team helps out the quarterback. And when they weighted the kicking and defense for Baltimore, they're 29th in the league. Do you think Lamar's enough here and this team to pull this one out at home? I know we've been generally high on the Ravens all year, but are you worried with what you've seen at all?
Yeah, I am high in the Ravens, and I do think they're going to win this game, especially coming off the bye here. But I said not off the bye, coming off this situation. But I'm gonna say that when these two teams play, regardless of where the location is, it's always been a throw out the record book kind of thing, and regardless of whether one team's making the playoffs and one team is down to the dumps that year, although Tomlin teams are rarely in those scenarios. But no matter who's taking the field, it's always a tight game between these two teams. Usually a game that's seemingly always decided by 3 points and a field goal in the last minute drive. And I think this one's gonna be the same. I do like the Ravens to win because I think they have much more to lose in this game. Like the Steelers can lose this game and still win the division, and I still think they could. I do think it's the Ravens. You're telling me they're the better team. I'm telling you I think the Ravens are the better team, and they control their own destiny. Hey, go win out, and we win this division. I think they're going to come out really firing here. But this is still one of the best defensive units in football in Pittsburgh, and a great pass rush at that too. It's gonna make this Ravens offense struggle a little bit. And this Ravens defense has not lived up to the hype that I thought they were going to this year after putting up a triple crown performance last year and keeping a lot of the same talents. So because of all that, I think I'm going to take the Steelers to cover. But again, I think the Ravens win this game in a tight one, as these AFC North rivalries usually are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's gonna be really close. I also think the Ravens will pull out the win here, but I like the Steelers plus 6.5. They won this game earlier in the season by 2, and just historically, the Steelers in Tomlin has had pretty good success against Lamar so far in his career. So yeah, I'm gonna lean with the Steelers and their defense. I know they didn't get the job done against the Eagles this last week, but the Eagles were able to just move the ball and burn a ton of clock. I mean, yeah, they just really game managed that one well, or at least give Sirianni some credit there. But I do think the Steelers are going to keep this one close enough. I think Russell and this offense has done enough to kind of rely on that defense. And yeah, I mean, give me Boswell, the best kicker in the league right now, over
Yeah,
Tucker. Could see some sort of a swing there. So I
without
like
a
the
doubt,
Steelers to
Tucker's
spread.
performance has been concerning, and it's. I mean, this is a playoff team. You're going to need to rely on a kicker. The Ravens have not been able to rely on him much this season, which is very new for it. So we'll see that Roosev's headed this game too. He's got to right the storm quick. If they're going to want to have any chance of the playoff run, because he really has been the bread and butter of that team scoring. Talking about this Falcons game here, that this Falcons team, it's been tough to predict. I know you've been behind them a lot, and they've been fading quickly as of late. Even against the Raiders, that Monday night, they have not been looking good in their performances. Where the Giants, especially with or without Danny Dimes, they haven't looked good either. Do you think this 10-point spread is justified for the Falcons team that has not looked good as of late?
I think it is just because I think the Giants are kind of a dumpster fire right now. I mean,
Hmm.
DeVito just had a concussion in that loss to the Ravens, so we saw Boyle again. I mean,
Yeah.
we could see Boyle as the starter here. So yeah, I gotta go with the Falcons, even with the spread minus 10.5. Like this team's really gone with Kirk. Kirk's played a horrible last 4 games leading up to
Mhm.
this matchup with the Raiders. They have the worst coverage in the league by a wide margin.
And
We've
he can't
mentioned it
do
a
any.
while.
Yeah, it's wild.
And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I know they're still not moving the ball well, but I still like the Falcons here. And yeah, I mean, I would expect Kirk to kind of get his bounce back week against the Raiders here. I know it hasn't gone according to plan, but I mean, if they win that game against the Raiders, they should. They'll only be a game back of the Bucks for the division, so they're still well in it. I think they win this one convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, they look so bad in offense, but the real key here is you don't have to put up much more than 17 or 20 points to cover this 10 points and half point spread against the Giants here. I want to take the Giants here. I really do. And I feel like the Giants should cover this game. Like the Falcons offense has looked dreadful these last few weeks, but can't trust a Tim Boyle team. I think I got to go with you. Could just be a big Bijan Robinson game. All you got to do for Kirk Cousins is get like 200 yards passing and rely on Bijan Robinson. You probably cover. I'm going to go with you reluctantly and take the Falcons here. And I really love the under again with the way this Falcons offense has been underperforming. You're not going to get much from this Giants offense. Love the under in that game.
Yeah, I think the Falcons get lucky, get a turnover here or there that really
Yep.
widens the margin.
Yeah. Against
I
Tim
mean,
Boyle, it's probably not too much to ask.
they're fourth overall in PFF still, so I mean,
Wild.
somehow grading is a good team.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah,
Um, Quick one here. I don't even care about Bills cover. Josh Allen MVP. I'm so happy I'm cashing my bet early. Like he's a lock as long as he doesn't like implode. Do you think the Bills here just keep their 45-point performances and just trounce the Patriots?
I think they do offensively. I mean, Drake may have moved the ball. He played really well against the Cardinals in the loss.
Yeah.
Like, I do think
Struggled to
they
put up
have
points,
something
but
there,
they
but
impressed with some plays.
yeah, I mean, I do think the Bills roll, but I mean, I could see them winning by 14 here and then missing the cover.
I
Um,
gotta, I gotta take the Bills. It's just maybe it's too easy. Maybe I'm stupid to be taking the Bills minus 14 and a half here, but like they're gonna keep putting up 40 points, it seems like.
yeah, I mean, they're unstoppable on offense. It's
It
yeah,
definitely, you know what? I'm gonna stick to my guns here and remember my mantras and my core tenets of gambling. It's time to sell high in the Bills for the cover. They're gonna win the game, 14 and a half. They're coming off a great offensive performance and they just took down the Lions. People are gonna be all over them. I'm gonna be in the Patriots 14 and a half here.
yeah, that's what I think. I mean, it's just a big emotional win. Like,
Yeah.
beat the like consensus number one team in the NFL
Yeah,
currently.
they're kind of in a
Yeah,
spot here where especially they're going to be scoreboard watching for the Chiefs on Saturday. If the Chiefs win Saturday, like there's like almost, if not legitimately no chance the Bills can be the one seed. So they're really not playing for much if and when the Chiefs win. That'll be interesting too. Two
Yeah.
teams really on a downtrend here, even though the Cardinals won. Like not a good win against the Patriots in my mind. And then the Panthers, who we thought might have had a chance against the Cowboys. Cardinals 4.5 point favorites. Panthers aren't playing for anything. Cardinals still in the hunt for that coveted wild card spot, and really, actually, not wild card spot, division crown. Which now that Geno's hurt, it's really up in the air. I think the Cardinals still have a game to play against the Rams, who are the division leader too. Knowing all that, do you think the Cardinals get it done, or do you think Bryce Young continues to build on some of the solid games he's had in recent memory?
I want to side with the Cardinals. I think that's probably where I'll lean with this one. I mean, I got pretty high on the Panthers the last few weeks, and
Yeah, I think I did too.
when they're favored against the Cowboys, that was their first time being a favorite in over 33 games.
Wow,
So probably could have saw that loss coming there, but
that is wild.
yeah, I mean, I think this one's intriguing though, because I do think Bryce Young will still be able to move the ball against Arizona, but yeah, I just think Arizona -4.5 has more to play for right now, and I really like their performance against the Patriots this last week.
Yeah, my
So
one
I think
was
Gannon's pretty underrated too. I
yeah.
mean, I feel like I don't know, they come and go. They're hard to read, but I do think they'll pull out this one and make it a tight race down the stretch.
The way they've been playing, they beat up on bad teams and they don't play well against good teams. They do have a lot to play for. And what I've loved about the Cardinals these last 2 weeks is James Conner and his ability to keep getting it done. The timeless wonder, both out of the backfield between the tackles and receiving the ball too. Um, I'm with you on the Cardinals, although I don't like it because I just can't trust them. But it seems like the time to take them, given what they're playing for, what's at stake, and their track record against subpar teams. Speaking of subpar teams, we got the Bears hosting the Lions in a very close game the last time these two teams played. People forget the game that got Flus fired. What do you think here at home? The Bears are getting routed or already were routed by the Vikings. Lions coming off a loss here. Again, playing for a lot despite only two losses here. It's a lot of team with just three teams in the NFC with two losses. Lions can't afford to mess around anymore. Do you think it's this game's even close?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love a side on this one, and I mean, my main reason, like, the Lions are the better team, but they're so banged up now. Like we saw the Bills just run through that decimated defense. Like Carlton Davis, um, corner one, broke his jaw, and then Montgomery with the MCL injury. I mean, not that they're gonna like try to just get healthy to end out the season, but I mean they are super banged up. So I think this one could be closer. I mean, I don't feel confident either in taking the Bears +7 because they've been a non-competitive football team for over the
Mhm.
last 2 months. But I do think it's could end up being closer. Like I don't like asked me 2 weeks ago. I love the Lions -7. Here, I think the injuries are going to start to add up. Maybe it's not this week, but
Yeah,
curious what your thoughts are.
you know what? I agree with you that it's tough to take a side here. With the Lions injuries on defense, I think the one really good pick here, maybe my favorite that we talked about so far, is the over. I think the Lions could have no problem putting up points here. Just sort of heavy reliance on Jameer Gibbs now that David Montgomery's out. You see a lot of Amon Ra is probably going to eat in the slot and is
Laporta's been
reps.
playing better.
He has been. And then, they get the deep threats with JMO, obviously Laporta. This is a dangerous team. And then if you're looking at the injuries on defense, then that's an opportunity for the Bears to put up points. I'm going to take the over here. Um, if I had to pick a side, I'd be on Lions -7, though. They win this game. And I think part of it is coming off a loss, not messing around. I don't think they're going to let the Bears hang around like they did last time. I don't see it.
Yeah. Nah.
Um, Another divisional matchup here. Colts with the Titans at home. What do you think here? Not much for me to say. Jonathan Taylor with that really tough drop touchdown. It doesn't cost the Colts their season in that one single play, but definitely a microcosm of that game and what it meant to them, which was a huge game to drop against the Broncos, which I thought they might have pulled out. Um,
Yeah.
Not much to play for here for the Colts after that. Do you think they cover and win, or win?
Yeah. I mean, I c- I want to side with them. I thought they were going to beat the Broncos last week, but I feel like the whole thing ever really with Anthony Richardson being the starters, just turnovers. They turned the ball over 5 times
Yeah.
in that loss. It's hard to trust them. I do think the Titans looked kind of decent in the loss against the Bengals. I
Yep.
don't love it, but I think I'm siding with the Titans plus 4.5. Just because I think the Colts, like, yes, they were kind of in the race, but I feel like that last loss to the Broncos really just deflated them. I don't know if you saw the trick play to A.D. Mitchell, threw it back to Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
They picked it off, took it to the house. I mean,
Yep.
A.D. Mitchell was like saying he executed the play, pretty much just saying like the coaches don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um,
He
yeah, no,
turned
I don't
all
know.
the
I think it's
windy.
gonna start to fall apart. I mean, not that it hasn't in Tennessee either, but I think I like the Titans plus 4.5 reluctantly.
Yeah, the Colts are at kind of the demoralizing point of the season, whereas the Titans are long past that. I'm with you here with the Titans plus 4.5. It just kind of a meaningless game. Although nothing's ever meaningless amongst division rivals. You see the Titans, we talked about getting a little bit of momentum on offensively against, hey, I don't know if it's more so what they did offensively or the Bengals having Swiss cheese defense, but you saw the move the ball a little bit, and their defense is still one of the better units in terms of points per game, yards per game, against the Colts team that has proven to turn the ball over, just like the Titans have. I think it could go either way, so I think you got to take the points here when it's over a field goal.
Yeah, that's where my head's at.
This
Keep
is
it
just
moving.
interesting. Every Jets
Yeah,
game is interesting. Rams need to keep winning to secure this division. They still have it. If they didn't win the division, I think they'd still be a wild card team because it's them and the Commanders. But certainly, you want to not have to rely on other teams losing to make the playoffs here. Jets, it's just all over the place. It couldn't even begin to get a read on them and make an accurate prediction with the Jets. So, with that being said, I would completely stay away from this game. Caveat that I had to pick a game. I think I want to say the Jets, but I know it's like no matter I hate taking the Jets because they're so bad and disappointing. But I'm gonna do the Jets plus 3. I don't think this line makes a lot of sense. Seems trappy to me, but definitely seems like a spot where the Rams need to keep winning. I I couldn't tell you why the Jets are only dogs by plus 3, but I'm gonna take them.
yeah. I mean, we saw Devontae go for 198 yards. Kind of seemed like what we thought was going to happen in New York when that trade happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard because I don't want to buy
I
too
mean,
much
Cup,
into it.
no catches. Puka continues to eat. Kyron continues to eat. Not much else inside of that Rams offense. If the Jets can kind of, it doesn't really work like this, but the Jets can limit the other two guys then that are producing, then I think they got a shot. You can't stop both Cup and Nakua though. It's just not how it works. Like you,
Yeah, I mean,
I
Cup's
mean,
gonna get involved again, but
if you
yeah, it's
split the
tough.
team
It's good.
one of them,
Like,
they'll be open.
yeah, you don't know what Aaron Rodgers you're gonna get because at the same time they're 4-10, but I mean they want to finish strong. They don't care what that record ends up being. He wants to maybe sell management that okay, just give me one more shot next year. You
Yeah.
know,
So I'm on Jets. Are you gonna be so bold?
I still like the Rams.
It's probably the smart
I've
pick.
been big on the Rams like
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much all year. I don't know, just give me Stafford, McVay, Cup like that offense.
Yeah,
I'll
you
trust.
honestly in a matchup like this, you probably take coaching over anything, but whatever. Going back there, division rivals this time. Commanders hosting the Eagles this point of the season. I see Eagles who just beat down on the Steelers, who obviously have a great record and a great performance. Um, and then you get the Commanders that has one of the worst fourth quarter point differentials in the league. And they almost gave that game away against the Saints, where they had it really locked down for most of the game. Do you, I personally This is stupid because I hate going with current trends. I continue to see the Eagles roll. I love the fact that their defense is playing such great football. You've seen the Commanders drop off significantly in the second half of this season, and their offense, which used to be their saving grace, isn't producing for them anymore. I think the Eagles continue to roll. Saquon, huge game after a quote unquote quiet game for him against the Steelers. I like the Eagles to keep it rolling and cover this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Eagles are a much better football team right now. They can really hang their hat on their defense. We talked last week on how the passing game was lacking. They showed up, threw for 290 yards in the air, kind of clearing up any potential issues between Hurts and AJ Brown. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's too easy of a pick to me now at the same time. And this is probably me just overthinking it. But I mean, the Eagles just rolled. The Commanders look like they're falling apart. But I mean, I'm trying to remind myself of Jay McDaniels' first couple weeks of the year where he just literally took games over. Um, he still has that ability. I don't think they're gonna win, but yeah, I'll probably still go with the Eagles in this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders surprise.
It seems like Vegas is asking you to take the Eagles here, right? Like they're rolling. The Commanders haven't looked great on the
Yeah, I
road.
mean the Commanders only beat the Saints by one.
Yeah,
Like,
everything's. But at the same time, the Eagles are playing for that one seed right now. Anything could happen. Probably not going to be theirs, but anything could happen. Um,
yeah, I
we'll
mean the
see.
Eagles' great
I
secondary. Like
feel
that's
wrong taking them, but like it's just nothing.
yeah. I'm not gonna just
It is a
zig.
trap game, and it's unfortunate. It's one of the few trap games I'm not taking. We'll see what happens. Chargers -3 here. Haven't looked great. Did not look good at all against the Bucks. We talked about that game going either way. We said if the Bucks got up early that they were going to win that game. It happened, but I did not think it was going to be by that margin. Broncos, on the other hand, overcame a little adversity in a deficit against the Colts, but came back on top in a convincing way. Both teams fighting for a playoff spot. And I think they're both 8-6, I want to say.
Broncos nine
Broncos
and
9 and
five.
5. Woo! Do you think the Chargers at 3-point favorites at home basically pick 'em game, even the odds, and bring these teams to 9-6 apiece? I don't even care about covering. I think this is a game it's a true pick 'em game. In my mind, obviously 3-point spread says to get the home field advantage. But even with that, I think it's game's a true coin flip. What are you taking? I still haven't really decided in my head what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm leaning with the Chargers still. I mean, like we just said, they just got blown out this last week. That was only one of two games all season where they gave up over 200 yards on the ground. They've been really stingy on stopping the run, and I think that's a decent matchup for this Broncos team. Really make Bo Nix beat you. Like, I mean, the Broncos won last week, but the Colts turned the ball over 5 times. Like, if
The
they
Broncos should have lost last week. The
right,
Colts gave them the win.
right. So, I mean, I'm trusting Herbert here. I'm trusting Harbaugh to keep control of the ball and really make Bo Nix beat you. I mean, the Broncos won by 18 last week, and I think he only threw for like 120 yards.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I think, yeah, the Chargers are going to make you beat them. They're not going to beat themselves, per se. But yeah, I mean, they won this matchup already earlier in Denver, so I think they could get it done again here at home. Although they are a little bit more banged up.
yeah. A little more banged up. My big concern here is that you got such a good and stingy secondary in the Broncos team, obviously led by Pat Surtain, which is going to help neutralize Lad McConkey a lot.
Yeah, especially one man
And then
show.
you
It's
see
tough.
a Chargers team without J.K. Dobbins that has not had a good rush game in his absence. Just last game, their leading rusher was Gus Edward with 23 yards. Part of that is definitely the game script and being down and having to throw the ball a lot. But even still, you're not seeing a ton of production and efficiency, more importantly, with him out of the backfield. That definitely leaves the door open for the Broncos and Bo Nix, who's been playing well. And then you saw the Bucks expose that secondary, like you said, is wearing thin a little bit for the Chargers. I think I'm on the Broncos here to win the game straight up. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Maybe not truly fun like the Lions and the Bills was because the total's only 45 and a half. I think it's going to be a slugfest, but I do think in almost in a bad way for football in a low scoring match, but I think the Broncos win this one. Again, I mentioned earlier in that Cardinals matchup that the Seahawks are slipping here, but they still need. I think they're at 8-6, maybe a wild card spot
Yep.
right now.
Yeah, 8-6, tied with the Rams
So
for
they're out of the
division.
playoffs right now as they sit because the Rams get the division, I believe, and the Commanders have the third wild card spot. So this is basically what I'm saying is this is the Seahawks season right here against the Vikings. Not a good spot to be in as the Vikings are fighting for their one seed. Believe if the Vikings win out, they get the one seed in the division title. So a lot to play for both these teams. You saw Geno Smith uh, not play most of that fourth quarter against the Packers. I'm trying to figure out. So it says Geno Smith gets some good news on a knee injury after testing. I'm going to assume he's going to play given this line. Assuming Geno Smith's playing, what do you think here in the +3?
Yeah, I mean, if Geno Smith plays and he's healthy, I kind of do like Seattle here. I think they match up like the kind of similar to the Ravens maybe, but the Seahawks team hasn't really lived up to the bill defensively this year. But I mean, they have personnel to play well in the secondary, and I mean, at least slow down Justin Jefferson. And like you said, I mean, this season's on the line right here. I know the Vikings are fighting for a number one overall seed to kind of get that bye in the playoffs, but I just think situationally, it's a huge game for the Seahawks, and I think they bounce back at home.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth in my head about um, what I think about this one. I really like the way that this Vikings team is coming together, both in the run game, obviously a great passing game with Sam Darnold, and then this defense under Brian Flores has really flourished being a top 10 unit in football. I think they're a very complete team and above average just about everywhere. Uh, Obviously, incredibly above average at the wide receiver position and no real deficiency there. I like the balanced team in the Vikings to go on the road and beat Seattle, even with their backs up against the wall in the season. You saw the same thing for the Niners at home against the Rams, playing for their season. They fell short. I think I'm going to predict the same thing for the Seahawks here. I like the Vikings. I don't like that I like them. Um, and it's, but I think they're also in their minds. I think the Vikings are also playing for their season. They're thinking Super Bowl without a doubt, and you're just not going to win the Super Bowl if you're a wild card team.
Yeah,
It happens. The Packers have done it. Other Giants have done it. Teams have done it, but it's not a spot you want to be in. And this team really wants to prove to everyone else what they truly believe in, and that is that they're the best team in football. And I think they're going to go out and prove it here against the Seattle team.
yeah. No, I mean we'll see. I still like the Seahawks
No, I
to
mean,
pull it
you
out.
should be taking teams that are playing for their season. It's got to be a profitable bet to be on their side. Two teams that are not playing for anything. Um, Raiders, Jags here, low total, going to be another game. I will not be watching, just the highlights. I'll tell you what, though, I bet you if you watch these highlights, you're going to see a lot of Brock Bowers. I think that he's the one true X factor in this game on either of these teams on either sides of the football. And so I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to take the Raiders. That's my take, my analysis, and not much else that I really want to talk about this game. I
Yeah,
could, but don't really want to.
I'm on the Jags.
Yeah.
Not
They
like
look good. They did look good against the
betting on-
Jets. They arguably should have beat them.
yeah. I mean, if Devontae and Aaron Rodgers don't go berserk, I mean
Yeah.
they win that game. But yeah, I just think it's a good matchup. We always talk about how bad the Raiders secondary is.
Yeah.
I think they could score enough points, but I mean,
It's a
who
real good
knows?
point here. Niners basically done from a playoff hope. The Dolphins, I think they technically still have life. They're both at 6-8. Um, not, I mean, the Niners are a much better team in PF grade, but it doesn't really matter with the way they've been playing. Um, Tua did not have a good performance against the Texans here. 1.5 point favorites implies the Niners are obviously the better football team, but they're on the road. Do you think the Dolphins and their passing attack lifts it back up? We talked about how Jalen Waddle uh, is very inconsistent in that offense. What do you think you're going to get out of this game?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Niners aren't an above 500 football team right now, but the Dolphins relatively play up and down to their competition. Or at least they lose to teams that are better than them.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think they really perform in those big games. I mean, the Niners they have less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs, but I think they pull this one out here. Both these teams are just hanging on to
Yeah.
very slim chances. But
So
yeah, I mean, like you
you
said,
think
the Niners are better.
it's Shanahan versus a Shanahan disciple in McDaniel. Who do you think gets the best? You sounds like you're going Shanahan.
Yeah, I'm going Chan. I still think I mean they're still a more complete football team.
Yeah,
They haven't
I'm
put it
with
all
you.
together this year. But yeah, I'm not sold on the Dolphins and
I'm
yeah,
with
that loss last
I'm
week.
with you in the Niners. Student McDaniel does not become the master of this game. Niners win that one. Oh. Here we go. That was unintentional, but a great Dak Prescott illusion. Um, you got the Cowboys here. hosting the Bucks here. Bucks playing for something very much, and I think you get one or two more wins here, they clinch that division. Cowboys coming off a win. Uh, Defense looking a little bit stronger. Don't have a ton of time here, so let's go quick. What do you think? You think the Bucks continue to win and get one step closer to locking up the division title, or do the Cowboys, who've looked a little bit better with Rico Dowdle and Cooper Rush stepping up a little bit more, do they play spoiler here?
I think the Bucks take care of business. I think they covered too. I mean, we saw how well that offense performed against a good Chargers defense last week. They have just a game lead over the Falcons right now, so I mean they can't get pretty with it. Uh, like neither of those teams are going to get a wild card spot, so it's really the divisional winner. So still a big game for the Bucks here. I think they pull it out.
Yeah, I want to say I feel that way, but this Bucks team is so up and down that I don't know, and I think I'm gonna take the Cowboys here at home, plus 3.5. I think their defense is playing a little bit better lately. I've always touted that defense and their coordinator Zimmer. I think with Donald the way he's been running the ball, that they're gonna control the clock a little bit more than you think, and it's gonna be a closer game than you would think. And I don't think I want to take the Cowboys to win. That's not very likely, but I think it's a lot more likely they can cover a little bit more than a field goal. This game, I'm on the Packers to roll as we got a little more time than I think, so we can spend somewhat conversation on this. Packers Saints here. I think Packers 13.5. I still think the Packers roll. You're not getting much from this Saints offense, especially against a team like the Packers that continues to prove to, again, just like the Vikings, that they're not the younger brother of the Lions, that they're a very good football team, and they're going to have a stake in momentum going into this playoffs. he, they looked really good in the run game. You see a lot of Josh Jacobs, and it's working out for them, and that opens up a lot of big chunk plays for guys all over this Packers offense, like Dobbs, obviously Jaden Reed and Christian Watson there. A little bit Tucker Kraft at tight end. Any scenario where you think the Saints cover? It's a lot of points. They definitely could, but
Yeah,
I
it's a
think I was taking the
huge spread.
Packers to keep rolling. What say you?
I wasn't expecting a spread this big to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers do cover. Big thing, like Jordan Love's really stepped up his play the last few weeks.
He
People
is
haven't talked about it,
good,
but he is
really good.
last 4 games, no interceptions. His every game he started before that, he did throw a pick, so he's starting to clean it up and showing some consistency. So I mean, yeah, if he's playing well and not turning the ball over, this is a really dangerous team. I mean, at Lambeau, you mentioned the run game already. Um, One silver lining for the Saints, like Hayner did not look good at all, but when they brought Rattler back in the game, he kind of led that comeback against the Commanders. I thought he looked pretty solid. So I mean, they're gonna finish out the season with him. I would imagine, and kind of see what they got there. But at the same time, I'm not. That's not enough for me to side with the Saints in this one on the road.
Yeah. And going back to Jordan Love, it's not like he's attempting a high volume of pass attempts, not completing the ball out, but that's not what this Packers offense is. I mentioned it's a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs. They're going to set that up for play action passing, trying to get big chunk plays. So even when the Packers win, you'll see Jordan Love's stat line have like 12, 15 completed passes. But they're such high impact plays that it's what really moves the needle for the Packers. And I'm really impressed with the throws that he's able to make. I think they have a cakewalk here against Rattler and the Saints. And I do think that's enough for the Packers to cover here. We ran through all the games just in the nick of time for week 16. We will see you guys all in week 17. Best of luck.